Captain Hantaz stood at the window of the space station. He looked out at the blue and green planet below. Nexus was beautiful from space, but Han knew the beauty hid danger. "Captain, the Vector delegates have arrived," said Lieutenant Du-Wan from behind him. Han nodded and turned away from the window. "How many?" "5. Their leader is called Rek." Han straightened his dark blue uniform. The silver pins that showed his rank caught the light. "Let's not keep them waiting." The hallway to the meeting room was busy with people. Some wore uniforms like Han. Others wore the simple clothes of the scientists and workers who lived on Nexus. Humans had only been on this planet for 3 years. The discovery of the Vector 6 months ago had changed everything. Han entered the large meeting room. General Kang was already there, talking with a tall alien. The Vector had blue-gray skin and 4 arms. Their eyes were large and black, with no white parts. Han thought they looked like the deep-sea creatures from Earth's oceans. "Ah, Captain Han," said General Kang. "Come meet Rek, the Vector chief diplomat." Han walked forward and bowed his head slightly. "It is an honor to meet you." Rek made a sound that the translator in Han's ear turned into words. "The honor is mine, Captain. We have heard of your skill in battle." Han felt uneasy. He had fought pirates and outlaws in the space around Nexus, but never the Vector. Why would they know of him? "Captain Han will be leading the security for our talks," said General Kang. "He is my most trusted officer." Han knew that wasn't quite true. General Kang trusted no one fully, but it was good politics to say so. The doors opened again, and a group of humans entered. They wore the green bands of the science division. At their front was a woman with short black hair and bright eyes. She carried a tablet and looked excited. "The language team, sir," said Du-Wan quietly to Han. The woman with short hair stepped forward. "General Kang, the translation program is ready. We've added the new words from yesterday's talk." General Kang nodded. "Good. This is Ji-Su, our lead Sinolinguist. She has learned more of the Vector language than anyone." Rek turned all 4 arms outward in what Han guessed was a sign of respect. Then the alien spoke directly to Ji-Su in sounds that didn't go through Han's translator. Ji-Su smiled and answered in the same strange sounds. Han watched her face as she spoke. Her eyes lit up, and her hands moved with her words. She seemed completely at ease talking with the alien. When the greeting was done, the group moved to the large table. Han found himself seated across from Ji-Su. As General Kang began the formal talks, Han watched her. She listened carefully to the Vector, sometimes making notes on her tablet. Once she looked up and caught Han watching her. She gave him a small smile before turning back to her work. "We want peace," Rek was saying. "Our people have no wish for war with humans." "As do we," said General Kang. "But we need to discuss the border issue near the Eastern Mountains." Han saw Ji-Su frown slightly. She tapped something on her tablet, then slid it across to Han. He looked down at the message. Asterisk, the word they use for peace, also means waiting time. Be careful asterisk. Han looked up at her, surprised. She was watching the Vector closely. Han felt a chill. Was this friendly meeting not what it seemed? When the talks ended 2 hours later, Han stood by the door as everyone left. Ji-Su stopped beside him. "Captain, could we talk later?" "About the translation?" Han nodded. "My office at 1900 hours. She smiled. "I'll be there." Han watched her walk away. He had a feeling that whatever she wanted to tell him would change everything. Han checked the time. 1855 hours. Ji-Su would arrive soon. He tidied the papers on his desk and closed the maps on his screen. The meeting with the Vector had left him with many questions. The door chimed. "Enter," Han said. Ji-Su walked in. She had changed from her formal clothes to the simple green uniform of the science division. She carried a small device in her hands. "Thank you for meeting me, Captain," she said. Han pointed to the chair across from his desk. "Please sit. What did you want to tell me about the translation?" Jisoo placed her device on the desk. She touched it, and it lit up, showing strange symbols. "These are messages we caught from vector ships near the border," she said. "The military translators say they are planning an attack." Han leaned forward. "And you think they're wrong?" "Yes." Jisoo touched the screen again. The symbols changed. "Look at this part. The military says it means prepare weapons, but in the old vector language, it could also mean watch for danger." Han frowned. "You think they're afraid of something, or someone?" Jisoo looked straight at him. "What if they're not getting ready to attack us? What if they're getting ready to defend themselves?" Han sat back in his chair. This was not what he expected. General Kang had already told all officers to prepare for possible war. "Jisoo, I understand you want peace, but my job is to protect our people." She shook her head. "I'm not being naive, Captain. Look at this." She played a recording of vector sounds. "This was sent 3 days ago. They mention another name, not humans." "What name?" "Marvac," she said. "I've been searching our databases. 2 years ago, a human outpost in the Ta system was attacked by raiders called Marvac." Han knew about that attack. He had friends who died there. The Marvac are pirates. They hit targets and run. They're not organized. What if they are now? Jisoo leaned forward. What if they want humans and Vector to fight each other? Before Han could answer, his comm unit beeped. "Captain Han, report to command immediately." Han stood up. "I have to go." Jisoo grabbed his arm. "Promise me you'll think about what I said." Han looked down at her hand, then at her face. Her eyes were full of worry. "I promise," he said. The command center was busy when Han arrived. Screens showed maps of the border region. General Kang stood in the center, giving orders. "Captain Han." "Good," said the general when he saw Han. "We've detected vector ships moving near the eastern mountains." Han looked at the screens. 10 vector ships were flying in formation. "Are they armed?" "Of course they're armed," said General Kang. "And now we know why they wanted those peace talks. It was to distract us." Han thought about what Jisoo had said. "Sir, what if they're not planning to attack us?" General Kang turned to Han with cold eyes. "Do you have information I don't, Captain?" Han hesitated. Sharing Jisoo's theory without more proof would not help. "No, sir. Just considering all possibilities." "Good." General Kang pointed to the map. "I'm sending you and a small team to scout the area. Don't engage unless attacked, but I want to know what they're doing." "Yes, sir. When do we leave?" "Tomorrow at dawn." Han saluted and left the command center. In the hallway, he sent a message to Jisoo. * need to talk. Meeting you in the cafeteria in 10 minutes. * When he got to the cafeteria, it was almost empty. Jisoo sat at a corner table with a cup of tea. "I'm being sent to the border," Han said as he sat down. Jisoo's face showed fear. "They think the Vector are going to attack." "Yes." Han lowered his voice. "I need more information about the Marvac. Anything you can find." "You believe me?" Jisoo asked, surprised. Han looked at her closely. Her eyes were clear and honest. Something inside him trusted her. "I don't know yet," he said, "but I'm going to find out the truth." Jisoo reached across the table and touched his hand. "Be careful, Han. If I'm right about the Marvac, you could be walking into a trap." Han nodded. For the first time in years, his duty as a soldier felt complicated. He needed to protect his people, but what if fighting the Vector was exactly what the real enemy wanted? Dawn came with heavy rain. Han and his team of 4 soldiers flew their small scout ship low over the trees. The eastern mountains rose ahead of them, dark against the gray sky. "Stay alert," Han said to his team. "We don't know what we'll find." They landed in a small clearing and continued on foot. The forest was thick with strange blue plants. Water dripped from the leaves onto their uniforms. Lieutenant Du-Wan checked his scanner. "Captain, I'm picking up signals ahead. Could be Vector." Han nodded. Let's move closer, but stay hidden. They walked for an hour through the wet forest. Then Du-Wan held up his hand for them to stop. Han crouched beside him behind a fallen tree. In the valley below, they saw 3 ships, but they weren't vector ships. Those aren't like any ships I've seen before, whispered Du-Wan. Han took out his binoculars. The ships were black with red markings. Around them moved figures that were neither human or vector. These creatures had metal parts attached to their bodies. Some had metal arms. Others had devices on their heads. Marvac, Han said quietly. Jisoo had been right. Suddenly, his comm unit beeped. One of the Marvac looked up toward their hiding place. They've spotted us, Han said. Move back to the ship. Now. They ran through the forest as shots hit the trees around them. Han took the rear, shooting back at the Marvac who followed them. A blast hit a tree next to Han. Pain shot through his leg as a piece of wood cut deep into his thigh. He fell and tried to get up, but his leg wouldn't hold him. Go, he shouted to Du-Wan and the others. Report what we saw. I'll hold them off. Du-Wan hesitated, then nodded. We'll come back for you, Captain. Han watched them disappear into the trees. He pulled himself behind a large rock and checked his weapon. He had 1 full power pack left. The Marvac came closer. Han could hear them talking in strange, mechanical voices. He prepared to fight. Then a hand covered his mouth. Han turned, ready to strike. She, said Jisoo. Come with me. Quickly. Han stared at her in shock. What are you doing here? No time to explain, she said. She helped him stand. There's a cave nearby. With Jisoo supporting him, Han limped through the forest. The sound of the Marvac faded behind them. The cave was small but dry. Jisoo helped Han sit against the wall, then took medical supplies from her pack. You're bleeding a lot, she said, cutting away the fabric around his wound. What are you doing in the forest? Han asked through gritted teeth as she cleaned the cut. I came with a research team 3 days ago, Jisoo said. We were studying Vectar ruins when we picked up strange signals. The team went back to base, but I stayed to check the signals. Han winced as she applied medicine to his leg. You stayed alone. That was dangerous. Jisoo smiled slightly. Says the man with a hole in his leg. She wrapped a bandage around his thigh, then sat back. The Marvac arrived yesterday. They're setting up some kind of transmitter. We need to tell command about this, Han said, trying to stand. His leg gave way, and he fell back. You can't walk yet, Jisoo said, and our comms don't work here. The mountains block the signals. Han looked at her closely. How did you find me? I heard the shooting, she said. When I saw you were hurt, I knew I had to help. Thunder sounded outside the cave. The rain grew heavier. We're stuck here until morning, Jisoo said. She sat beside Han and offered him water from her bottle. Han took a drink. Thank you for saving my life. Jisoo looked at him with those clear, bright eyes that had caught his attention from the first day. You believed what I said about the Marvac, when no one else did. I wasn't sure, Han admitted. But now I've seen them. You were right. What do you think they want? Jisoo asked. Han leaned his head back against the cave wall. To start a war between humans and Vector. While we fight each other, they can take what they want. Night fell outside the cave. Jisoo made a small fire, careful to keep the smoke low. In its light, they talked. She told him about growing up on a colony world, running from war with her family. He told her about joining the military to protect people like her. For the first time in years, Han felt he was talking to someone who truly listened. As pain and tiredness pulled him toward sleep, he realized something strange. In this dangerous place, with an enemy hunting them, he felt more at peace than he had in a long time. Han woke to the sound of rain. The small fire had burned down to red coals. Jisoo sat at the cave entrance, looking out at the forest. How long did I sleep? Han asked. Ji-Soo turned. About 5 hours. How's your leg? Han moved it carefully. The pain was less. Better. Thank you. Ji-Soo came and sat beside him. She had dark circles under her eyes. I've been thinking about the Marvek. I need to show you something. From her pack, she took out a small computer. She turned it on and showed Han a screen full of symbols. These are messages I recorded from the Marvak transmitter, she said. Some parts use vector language, but changed slightly. Other parts use human military codes. Han frowned. They're copying our communications. Yes, but changing key words. Ji-Soo pointed to a line of symbols. This message looks like a vector order to attack a human outpost. But the real vector would never use these terms together. She showed him another screen. And this one looks like a human message ordering ships to the vector border. But look at the date code. It's for tomorrow. Han's eyes widened. They're sending fake orders to both sides. Exactly. Ji-Soo looked at him with serious eyes. The vector aren't planning to attack us, and they think we're not planning to attack them. But both sides are getting ready for war because of these fake messages. Han tried to stand up. His leg hurt, but he could put weight on it now. We have to warn command. There's more, Ji-Soo said. She played a recording. It was in a language Han didn't know. What is that? He asked. Marvak language. I've been studying it from old records. Ji-Soo looked grim. They're talking about implants in high-ranking officers, both human and vector. Han felt cold. Mind control. Not exactly. More like suggestion. Small pushes toward anger and fear. Ji-Soo stood up beside him. I think General Kang might have one. Han wanted to deny it, but things made sense now. The general's growing paranoia, his quick anger, his push for military action. If they've done this to leaders on both sides, Han said slowly, then the Marvak won't need many fake messages. The leaders will convince themselves. Ji-Soo nodded. And once we're at war with the vector, the Marvak can take what they want while we're busy fighting. Han finished her thought. They looked at each other, understanding the danger. The rain had stopped. Morning light filtered through the trees. We need to get back to base, Han said. Can you walk to our landing spot? It's about 2 hours from here. Yes, Ji-Soo said. But what will you tell General Kang? If he has an implant, he won't believe us. Han thought for a moment. We need proof. And we need to find someone he trusts who doesn't have an implant. Dr. Kim's son, Ji-Soo said quickly. She's the head medical officer. The general respects her. And she's only been on Nexus for a month. They probably haven't gotten to her yet. Han nodded. Good thinking. We'll go to her first. They packed their few things and left the cave. The forest was quiet. Too quiet. Something's wrong, Han whispered, stopping Ji-Soo with his hand. No birds. They crouched behind a fallen tree. Ahead, they saw movement. 3 Marvak soldiers were searching the area. Their metal parts gleamed in the morning light. They're between us and my ship, Han said quietly. Ji-Soo pointed to the right. There's another way. Through the valley, but it's longer. Han checked his weapon. We don't have a choice. As they turned to go, Ji-Soo touched his arm. Han, if we don't make it back. Han looked at her. In just 2 days, this woman had changed everything he thought he knew. She had saved his life. And now they might be the only ones who could stop a war. We'll make it, he said firmly. I promise. Ji-Soo smiled, and Han felt something stir in his chest. Something he hadn't felt in a long time. Something worth fighting for. They moved silently through the trees, away from the Marvek patrol, carrying a truth that could save 2 species from destruction. Han and Ji-Soo moved carefully through the forest valley. The path was muddy from the rain. Han's leg hurt with each step, but he kept going. They had to reach the base before it was too late. How far to your ship? Ji-Soo asked, her voice low. Another hour, Han said. If we don't run into more Marvac. They stopped at the top of a small hill. In the distance, they could see the mountains where the human base was built. So close, yet so far. Listen, Jisoo said suddenly. Han heard it too. A low humming sound, coming closer. Vector ship, he said, recognizing the sound. Hide. They ducked under a large bush with blue leaves. A Vector patrol ship flew overhead, moving slowly. It was searching for something. They might be looking for us, Han whispered. Jisoo shook her head. Or they might be checking the Marvac activity too. The ship circled back. It was coming lower. They've spotted us, Han said. He raised his weapon. Wait. Jisoo put her hand on his arm. Let me try something. Before Han could stop her, Jisoo stood up. She stepped into the open and raised both hands. Han watched in shock as the Vector ship landed in the clearing. The door opened. 3 Vector stepped out, all carrying weapons. They were tall with blue-gray skin and 4 arms. Jisoo walked forward slowly. Then she began to speak in the Vector language. Her voice rose and fell in strange sounds. The Vector looked at each other. One stepped forward and answered her. They talked for several minutes. Han stayed hidden, his weapon ready. He could shoot 2 of them before they reached her, but he waited, trusting her. Finally, Jisoo turned and waved to him. Han, it's okay. They'll help us. Han stood slowly, keeping his weapon lowered but ready. He limped to her side. This is Lath, Jisoo said, pointing to the tallest Vector. He's a patrol leader. I told him about the Marvac. Lath spoke, and Jisoo translated. He says they found Marvac ships 3 days ago. The Vector leaders don't believe them. They think it's a human trick. Han nodded. The same thing is happening on our side. Jisoo spoke to Lath again. The Vector talked among themselves. Then Lath turned back to them. They'll take us to a communication station, Jisoo said. From there, we can contact both our base and the Vector main ship. Han hesitated. Getting on a Vector ship was dangerous. But they needed help. Tell them we accept, Han said, and thank them. Inside the Vector ship, Han sat across from Lath. The ship lifted smoothly into the air. Jisoo sat beside Han, talking with the Vector. They found a Marvac device on their leader's ship, she told Han. They removed it secretly. It was sending signals directly to the leader's quarters. The implants, Han said. Can they show it to us? Jisoo asked, and Lath reached into a pocket. He pulled out a small metal disc, no bigger than a coin. He handed it to Han. Han studied it. One side had tiny needles. The other had a small flashing light. This could prove what's happening, Han said. He gave it back to Lath. We need to show this to our leaders. The communication station was a small building on top of a hill. Inside, Han used the equipment to send a message to Do-won at the base. Lieutenant, this is Captain Han. Do not report to General Kang. Find Dr. Kim's son. Tell her to scan the general for implants. Small metal discs. They're Marvac technology. Captain, you're alive. Do-won's voice came back. We thought you were dead. The general has ordered an attack on the Vector ships. It starts in 3 hours. Han looked at Jisoo. Her face went pale. Stop that attack, Lieutenant, Han said firmly. The Vector are not our enemies. The Marvac are trying to start a war. I'll try, sir, Do-won said, but the general won't listen to me. Then we're coming back, Han said, and we're bringing proof. He turned to Jisoo and Lath. We need to get to the base now. Can your ship take us? Lath nodded after Jisoo translated. As they rushed back to the Vector ship, Han checked his weapon. 3 hours to stop a war. 3 hours to save countless lives. He looked at Jisoo as she climbed into the ship. She had risked everything to prove the truth, and now he would risk everything to help her. The Vector ship flew fast toward the human base. Han sat next to Jisoo, checking the time every few minutes. They had less than 2 hours now. Will they let us land? Jisoo asked. A vector ship at the human base. I sent the special landing code, Han said. Do-won will help us. Lath spoke to Jisoo in the vector language. She listened, then turned to Han. Lath says his people are also preparing for war, she said. If we don't stop both sides, many will die. Han nodded grimly. I know. The base came into view. It was built into the side of a mountain. Han could see ships taking off. The attack was already starting. They're letting us land, Jisoo said, looking at the screen where a green light blinked. The vector ship set down on a small landing pad. Han, Jisoo, and Lath stepped out. Do-won was waiting with 4 soldiers. Captain, Do-won said, saluting. His eyes moved nervously to Lath. Sir, why is there a vector with you? He's helping us, Han said. Where is Dr. Kim's son? In her lab. She's waiting for you. They moved quickly through the base. People stared at Lath as they passed. Some reached for weapons. Han kept a hand on his own gun, ready to protect their vector ally. Dr. Kim's son was a small woman with short gray hair. She looked up as they entered her lab. Captain Han, she said calmly. Lieutenant Do-won told me what you suspect. Han nodded to Lath, who took out the metal disc and placed it on the table. Dr. Kim picked it up with special tools. She examined it under a scanner. Remarkable, she said. It's designed to attach to the brain stem. Once there, it can affect emotions and thoughts. Can you detect if someone has one? Han asked. Yes, Dr. Kim said. I've already created a scanner. I tested it on myself first. I'm clean. And General Kang? Jisoo asked. Dr. Kim's face grew serious. He has one, but when I tried to tell him, he ordered me to be quiet. He said I was confused. Han looked at the clock on the wall. 1 hour and 30 minutes until the attack. We need to remove his implant, Han said. That would require surgery, Dr. Kim said. He would never agree. Then we need to stop the attack another way, Han said. He turned to Do-won. Take me to the command center. The command center was busy with officers preparing for war. General Kang stood in the middle, giving orders. He turned as Han entered. Captain Han, he said, his face showing surprise. You're alive. Yes, sir, Han said, and I have important information. He explained about the Marvek, the fake messages, and the implants. As he spoke, he watched the general's face. It went from surprise to anger. This is nonsense, General Kang said when Han finished. And you brought a vector into our base. You're a traitor, Captain. Sir, please listen, Han said. Dr. Kim found an implant in your... Enough, General Kang shouted. Guards, arrest Captain Han and his companions. They are working with the enemy. 4 guards moved toward them, weapons raised. General, please. Jisoo stepped forward. The Marvak are controlling you. The Vector aren't our enemies. General Kang's face twisted with rage. Take them away. Han looked at Jisoo, then at Lath. He had promised to help them stop the war. But now he was being called a traitor. Last chance, Captain, General Kang said. Follow orders or face the consequences. Han felt the weight of his duty pressed down on him. His whole life had been about following orders, about serving humanity. What if the general was right? What if the Vector really were planning to attack? He looked at Jisoo. Her eyes were clear and sure. She believed in peace. She had risked everything for it. The guards came closer. Han had to choose. Follow orders and let the attack happen, or trust Jisoo and risk everything. I'm sorry, General, Han said, making his decision. But I can't let you start this war. In one quick move, Han pulled out his weapon, not to shoot, but to create a distraction. Jisoo grabbed a smoke canister from a nearby emergency kit and threw it on the floor. As smoke filled the room, Han knew his life would never be the same. He had made his choice. He had chosen her. Smoke filled the command center. People shouted and coughed. Han grabbed Jisoo's hand and pulled her toward the door. Laugh followed close behind them. This way. Duwan called from the hallway. He had chosen to help them. They ran through the corridors of the base. Alarms began to sound. A voice came over the speakers. Attention all personnel. Captain Han Tai and his companions are to be arrested. They are traitors. Repeat, they are traitors. We need to reach the communication center, Han said as they ran. We have to send a message to all ships. It's on the next level down, Duwan said, but they'll have guards there by now. They stopped at a corner. Han peeked around it. 2 guards stood at the elevator. We need another way, Jisoo said. Dr. Kim's voice came from behind them. I can help. She had followed them from her lab. There's a maintenance shaft that goes down to all levels. This way. They followed Dr. Kim to a small door in the wall. Inside was a narrow ladder going down. I'll go first, Han said. He climbed down, ignoring the pain in his injured leg. The others followed. At the bottom, they found themselves in a long hallway with pipes running along the ceiling. Dr. Kim led them through a maze of corridors until they reached another door. The communication center is through here, she said, but there will be people inside. Han checked his weapon. I won't hurt our own people. Set weapons to stun only. Duwan nodded and adjusted his gun. Ready, sir. Han opened the door. Inside, 3 officers worked at control panels. They looked up in surprise. Nobody move, Han said. We don't want to hurt you. One officer reached for an alarm button. Duwan fired his stun gun. The officer fell to the floor, unconscious. Anyone else? Han asked. The other 2 officers raised their hands. Jisoo went to the main control panel. I need to send a message to all ships. They've locked the system, one of the officers said. General Kang's orders. Han turned to Duwan. Can you break the lock? Duwan sat at the panel. I can try, sir. It will take a few minutes. We don't have minutes, Jisoo said. The attack starts in 30 minutes. Lath stepped forward. He spoke to Jisoo in the Vector language. Lath says he can contact the Vector ships from here. Jisoo translated. Tell them to stand down. Do it, Han said. He looked at the screen showing the human ships moving into attack position. There were 12 of them, heavily armed. Lath worked at a control panel, sending a message in Vector. Jisoo helped him. Message sent, she said after a moment. The Vector commander is responding. Han watched the screen. Slowly, the Vector ships began to pull back. It's working, Jisoo said. They're standing down. But our ships are still going to attack, Han said. He turned to Duwan. Any progress? Almost there, sir, Duwan said, fingers moving quickly over the keys. Suddenly, the door burst open. General Kang stood there with 6 armed guards. Step away from the controls, he ordered. His face was red with anger. Han stepped between the general and his friends. Sir, please listen. The Vector are not attacking. They're pulling back. This war is not necessary. They're pulling back to draw us in, General Kang said. It's a trap, and you've fallen for it. Han shook his head. It's the Marvek, sir. They've been manipulating both sides. You have an implant in your brain. It's making you want war. For a moment, doubt flickered in the general's eyes. Then his face hardened again. Guards, arrest them all, he ordered. Got it, Duwan shouted. System unlocked. Jisoo jumped to the control panel. She pressed a button and spoke into the microphone. Attention all Earth Defense Force ships. This is Jisoo, Xenolinguistics Division. The Vector are not your enemy. I repeat, the Vector are not your enemy. We are being manipulated by a third party, the Marvek. Please hold your fire. General Kang lunged for the control panel. Cut that transmission. Han tackled him to the floor. They struggled, but Han was younger and stronger. He pinned the general down. "Look at the screen, sir," Han said. "Look." On the main screen, they could see the human ships slowing their advance. One by one, they stopped. The human fleet was standing down. General Kang stopped fighting. He stared at the screen where the human ships had stopped their attack. A look of confusion crossed his face. What's happening?" he asked. Dr. Kim stepped forward. "The implant is losing control, sir. Please, let me help you." Slowly, General Kang nodded. The guards lowered their weapons, unsure what to do. "Take the general to the medical bay," Han ordered. The guards and Dr. Kim helped General Kang to his feet and led him away. Han turned to the main screen. The human and vector ships now floated in space, facing each other but not fighting. "We did it," Ji-Soo said, smiling at Han. But then an alarm sounded. New ships appeared on the screen. 5 large black ships with red markings. "Marvac," Lath said in his own language. Ji-Soo didn't need to translate. One of the officers at the control panel looked up. "Sir, they're powering weapons. They're going to attack both fleets." Han's mind raced. The human and vector ships were still separate. They would be easy targets. "Get me a channel to all ships, human and vector," Han said. The officer worked quickly. "Channel open, sir." Han took a deep breath. "This is Captain Han Todd of Earth Defense Force. All ships, listen carefully. The Marvac have arrived. They wanted us to fight each other, but now they will attack us directly. We must stand together." He looked at Ji-Soo. She nodded encouragingly. "I am sending battle plans now," Han continued. "Human ships form up with vector ships as shown. Fight together or die alone." Du-Wan sent the battle plans from his console. On the screen, they watched as the human and vector ships began to move into new positions, mixing together in a single defense line. "Sir," an officer called out, "the Marvac are firing." The first shots from the Marvac ships hit a human destroyer. It exploded in a ball of fire. "Our ships are returning fire," the officer reported, "but the Marvac ships have strong shields." Han studied the screen. The Marvac command ship stayed behind the others. It was controlling the attack. "We need to take out their command ship," Han said. "But it's too well protected." Ji-Soo looked at the display. "The diplomat building," she said suddenly. "It's right under the battle. If we send a small, fast ship from there, it could get under the Marvac shields." Han saw what she meant. The diplomat building was on a small moon below the battle. A ship from there could approach from underneath where the Marvac weren't looking. "That could work," Han said. "But who would fly such a mission? It would be very dangerous." "I will," Du-Wan volunteered. Han shook his head. "No, I'll do it." Ji-Soo grabbed his arm. "Han, no, it's too risky." Han looked at her. Her eyes were wide with fear for him. In that moment, he saw everything that might be possible after this day. A future with her. Peace between their peoples. "I have to," he said softly. "I'm the best pilot we have." On the screen, more ships exploded, both human and vector. They were fighting bravely together, but the Marvac were too strong. Han looked at the battlefield display, then back at Ji-Soo's eyes. Everything he fought for was there, in her eyes. The hope for peace, the future of two peoples. "I'll come back," he promised her. Ji-Soo touched his face. "You better." Han took a small team to the fastest ship on the base. Within minutes, they were launching from the diplomat building on the moon, flying up toward the battle above. The Marvac didn't see them coming. Han flew the ship right under the command ship shields. They fired their weapons directly at the ship's power core. The Marvac command ship exploded in a huge ball of light. Without their commander, the other Marvac ships fell into confusion. The human and vector ships pressed their attack together, and one by one, the Marvac ships were destroyed or ran away. 3 days later, Han stood with Jisoo on the balcony of the newly rebuilt diplomat building. His arm was in a sling. He had been hurt in the explosion, but he had survived. Below them, human and Vector leaders signed a peace treaty. The first real peace, not based on fear or tricks. "What will you do now?" Jisoo asked. "Go back to fighting." Han shook his head. "No, I've asked for a new job, in the diplomat service." Jisoo smiled. "So you'll need a good translator." Han took her hand with his good one. "I'll need more than that. I'll need someone who can see peace when others see only war." Jisoo leaned against him as they watched the two peoples begin their new journey together. "When I had to choose between the battlefield and your eyes," Han said softly, "I chose right."